Hello, everyone. Welcome to Under the Wing. I am your host, Andrew Wingard, and I am extremely grateful that you're sharing your time with us today. I am excited that I get the opportunity to share with you the experiences and stories from all walks of life. Gather round and let's begin. Welcome. Thank you all for joining me today on the second episode of Under the Wing. I am your host, Andrew Wingard, and I am pretty excited to be here today. We have Suerethia Henderson here on the show today, who's a YSU women's track and field student athlete. And we are going to learn a little bit about her journey, her story, what it's like to be on a team of excellence, a team that has tradition, and just kind of dive into a little bit of her story. So Ms. Henderson, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I am doing great. We actually were at the Scholar Athlete Banquet last night, and we actually honored one of your teammates. Sean is the male student athlete of the year. So I know the track and field team has a huge reputation here, not just in Youngstown, but around the country. So it's pretty cool that you guys represent Youngstown in the way that you do. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to jump right into this conversation. All right. So Ms. Henderson, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your story? How did you get to Youngstown?
Okay. So, hello, my name is Suerethia Henderson. I'm currently a senior at Youngstown State University, set to graduate this upcoming May of 2022 with my bachelor's in finance, but I also have a background in accounting and data analytics. A little bit about me. I'm not from Youngstown area. I am from closer to, my hometown is called Lima, Ohio, but it's in between Dayton and Toledo, a little bit closer to Dayton. Let's see, I graduated from Lima Senior High School. It's a predominantly Black high school. Love my city, love my hometown. I don't know. There's kind of a lot to know about me. A couple of the things that I stand for, though, they all start with F, which would be faith, financial literacy, fitness, and then fashion. So they all kind of tie in together. I actually currently mentor adolescent students, teaching them the basics about financial literacy. So like, what is credit? Why is it important? How do you build it? Or even knowing, like when you finance a loan, knowing that some of your monthly payment is going towards interest, some of your monthly payment is going towards the principal. And when I talk about the fitness aspect, so I guess I go through all the F's. So that's the financial literacy. When I talk about the fitness aspect, not only I talk about the importance to watch what you consume. So not only in the sense of your nutritional diet and your nutritional habits, but watching what you consume for your mental and emotional health. Yeah. So knowing the importance to monitor what you watch, read, and listen to on a daily, and like how your attitude affects your behavior and things like that. And then that will tie into faith. And then fashion, I've always had a passion with clothes and things like that. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that looks, what'd you say?
I said, yeah, that's kind of what I, that all ties the finance aspect as well. So.
Oh yeah, that sounds like Brandon. So we're gonna touch on that a little bit too, because being a former student athlete myself, and as things change here, the dynamics of being a student athlete, Brandon is important. So I want you to touch on that because I think that's going to be really important for young adults and as students are transitioning into college and being student athletes. So we're definitely gonna come back to that. But wait, you said your hometown's Lima, Ohio?
Lima, Ohio. Yeah.
Okay. So that's so when we chatted earlier, so I didn't catch that part. So I got family in Lima, Ohio. And so we actually would have our family reunion every year in Lima, Ohio. So the Sanders, the last name, dead serious.
Oh, it's a small town. So that's why I'm closer to Dayton, because it's the bigger city besides Lima. But
I know Lima because we would go to this hotel and there was a Dairy Queen next to the hotel.
Okay. Wait, a Dairy Queen?
Yeah, it was It was a hotel, and then there was a Dairy Queen on the corner of the street, and that's where we would have it every year.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm serious. My family will back me up when they see this and hear this. But small world, like you said, such a small world. But again, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm pretty excited to touch base and connect and learn a little bit about you and learn what it means to be a student athlete in some areas here. So what we're going to do is, as I mentioned earlier, I was at the Scholar Athlete Banquet last night, and honoring student athletes and the accomplishments that you guys have had over the past 2 years. So congratulations on all your guys' success. And so we talked a lot about opportunity and chances. And what I want you to do is tell me about an opportunity that you were granted, opportunity or chance that you got, and you look back at it and like, man, that was everything. That changed my life.
I would honestly have to say getting the opportunity to run in college, being a collegiate athlete, a Division I collegiate athlete. It's funny that you asked that question, because it's just now, like my junior and senior year is when I'm really starting to realize that it's a blessing. Like it is very much so. I would say that's something that has changed my life.
Why do you think it's taking you so long to realize that? Why now? You're getting ready to walk. Congratulations, by the way. But why now do you think it's taking you so long to realize, man?
Well, for one, last year, I had struggled with an injury. I had a hamstring injury. And for me at that particular time, me going through it, like I knew I was in the middle of a transition of something. At the moment, I really couldn't tell what, but now looking back, and I tell this to the kids that I mentor, that, for me personally, my identity has never been in athletics. Sometimes us as humans, we can put our identity into things such as just being very transparent. Like it could be anything from like money, drugs, alcohol, just like anything like worldly. And like we can just hold it to the certain standard. You put in your identity into it almost in a sense of, if you don't have it, you kind of feel less as a person. And I always tell the kids that I mentor that I never put my identity into athletics, and that I look at track as a blessing to get me to college and through college. But I've always knew my life's purpose was way more than a finish line. So just really kind of knowing that, when I look back on like how far it has gotten me to this point, like up to the point that I am, and then like pursuing my career and things like that, I just look at it as a blessing.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. So you talked about an injury, and being an athlete, we all hit that injury mark, and kind of, I remember sitting in the hallway crying one time. I rolled my ankle, and I literally walked in the hallway and cried and bawling, right? And so you got to figure out a way to get over that. What kind of helped you? That injury happens mentally, physically. How do you get over that injury?
So for me, I guess that would tie into the faith, the faith aspect, having that perseverance to get through, because it is a process. And I also tell the kids that I mentor that track for me, sports and like athletics in general, it's kind of the principles behind the sport. So the accountability, the discipline, the time management, all of that, those principles behind the sport, that's what you have to extract from the sport, that actually helps shape your character, shape as a genuine person. And so like for me, even going through that hamstring injury, like during that time I was developing patience. Never had patience before, but it was just because like from a physical standpoint, from a worldly standpoint, my physical body was injured. Right. My motivation, my dedication, my effort, it was still there. Like I still wanted to practice, like, but I couldn't even like jog to my car because my hamstring is so bad.
Right.
Like from a worldly standpoint, like your physical body is injured, but my motivation was still there, like to still try to pursue, to still try to be dedicated to the sport, do the necessary rehab, do the necessary like recovery methods and things like that. Just to get back to where I was and then exceed past that point. So I don't know, the faith that, So for to answer your question though, something that helps me. So like I do listen to podcasts. So like what you're doing, podcasts, preachers, and then church, of course, prayer.
Okay, yeah, that's big time, and those are all needed, and whatever you have, mentally and physically, trying to make sure that you're ready to compete. So one thing I did, so I picked up from that injury. You were making the connections between the two, and so if I'm not mistaken, you were just in an internship. You finished the internship last summer, and so you're thinking about that injury, right? How would you, thinking about your internship, what was something that was relative to that injury that you I guess saw in your internship? You're like, oh, the connection between the two is I needed this to get over my injury. I need this to be a good intern at this job. The connections between the two. If you think back to your experience during that time, what if that question makes sense? You don't understand what I'm saying? So how do you connect that injury and overcoming that injury with your experience as an intern at your job last summer? If there was one, if you had to choose one.
Yeah, for that question, there really isn't a particular thing. I would say the patience though, because patience and then working in like a team atmosphere, team environment. So even if you take track to working in the work and then transfer that to working over in the workplace, so working with colleagues, working with your other employees, working in that team environment, it requires patience. It does require, you're working with people in general, patience is required for a lot of things. It would help out. So
that's what I was getting at right there. That's what I was getting at. So tell us a story about that patience in your internship. Something, there was a project that maybe you had to do, or maybe there was something your boss asked you to do where you had to practice that patience that you learned from your injury. You got an experience that you can share.
Okay, so I was a finance intern at the company I worked for in the summer. It was called Fiserv.
Okay.
Part of the Fortune 500. The location was down in Atlanta, Georgia. And I was a part of the accounting team. A moment during my internship that just helped me with patience. Each month we have to do like account reconciliations. I don't know. So basically, you have like an Excel document, and then you basically just need to input some numbers. But that's basically like a general overview of what you're doing. But you have to get the necessary documents from other people, a part of your team. They have to send you over documents so you can input those numbers. And so while you're waiting for them to send over that document, like you have to, it's a patient. It really does.
So you got to rely on your teammates to get you to that information so you can finish your job.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I see the connection now. That's what I was hoping I would get out of you when I was asking. So thank you for sharing that. And so you talked a little bit about your mentor. Actually, you talked a lot about your mentoring programs. And why do you feel that it's important to mentor, our young people and give back with your knowledge and your time?
Why do I feel it's important?
Yeah. Why do you think it's important? Because not everybody does it. Let's be honest. Not everybody's sharing their time, with people. So why do you think that it's important for you to do that?
I guess I can speak from like a personal standpoint. Growing up, like the financial literacy just wasn't. I come from two parents, mother and father. My parents are divorced. But they're both still currently in my life. I love my parents, love my mother, love my father so much. My mom's from Columbus and my dad's from Lima. But a reason why I find it so important, it's just like growing up, for me personally, the financial literacy just wasn't there. So I just like, if you don't, not saying you can't know, but if you don't know, and if you're not curious enough to really seek it out, and like curious enough to really want to know, like, what is credit? Like, how do you not only create wealth for yourself, but create generational wealth that down the long run? Like, if you're not to actually seek out like ways to create passive income, to do investing, and actually like help create that generational wealth for yourself, your family, and things like that, you have to really be curious.
Right.
And so I guess that's what sparked in me, the finance side. And so like growing up in high school, I'll speak personally. Graduate high school, I just didn't really know too much about like credit, like how to build it, what it was, like taxes. But like you Pythagorean theorem, like you don't need that when you graduate.
Right.
You know, you're about to start taking student loans, you're about to go to college, like you need to know what credit is. You need to know like the interest rate when you get a car, like
it's important.
Yes. And then it's not really taught. And so once I learned it specifically, I just felt it was important to give back. I didn't really know it growing up, and I felt like that should stop with me. And so like once I found out and once I learned it, I felt like it is important to give back and like that. So
no, that's awesome. That is awesome. Like, I'm the same. I didn't know much about nothing financial growing up, and so I was pretty much, again, first generation college kid, and so I was out here floating, trying to figure out what to do. So I'm with it. So I know it's important, and I'm extremely grateful that you're taking time to kind of talk with them. And so what ages are they that you're connecting with?
So happy you asked. They're like 7. They're middle school.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not high school. They're not high schoolers yet. And so they're like 7. They're in middle school. They're like 13, 14. I know like their ages. So they're like 12, 13, 14 and things like within that age range there.
So what are some of the things that you talk about regarding whether it's financial literacy or, just life? What are some things that you share with them, and, what are some of the things that they connect to the most when you're talking with them?
So yeah, obviously they're the younger age group, so they obviously they don't have like a job yet. They don't even have, a lot of them are like about to get their license, like, well, not even permit. And like, so they're young. So like for them, I do like finance 101. So like opening, checking, savings accounts. Like the last time I was with them, we did a Kahoot. And so like, it's just asking like those basic questions, like the needed documents for when you do open up a checking account, what you'll need, like that. Do you know the difference between a checking and a savings account? The difference between a credit card and a debit card?
Right.
Okay, is your debit card, is that tied like to your checking account? Knowing that, it's just things. And like when you speak, because a lot of times people think credit can have a negative connotation, and they think that you could just spend cash for everything, and that's not the case. I think want to go buy a house, I mean, unless you have $100,000, $200,000 saved up, then okay.
Exactly.
But more 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to finance something throughout your lifetime, go the route of financing. And that also helps build your credit. And then I talk about like why credit's important, just how do you establish your credit, why establishing your credit is important, negative things that can impact your credit, passive income. I talk about like stocks, cryptocurrency, ETFs, the whole 9. Passive income, real estate. I'm about to get my real estate license this summer as well.
Nice.
So finance and real estate kind of go hand in hand.
Right.
But they're still young. So, then I asked them something that they enjoy talking about is themselves.
They just learning. They learned 7th and 8th grade. They just learning themselves. They trying to figure out who they are.
Oh, they like to talk though.
I know.
But yeah, so asking them kind of what their career paths, what are they interested in? What are their interests? And oddly enough, I tell them that I'm in college. I'm currently a collegiate athlete, but I tell them that college isn't for everyone. So, you really have to find your route, find your niche, whether that's trade school, cosmetology school, going the military route, opening up your own business, doing hair, doing lashes. You really have to find your niche, because college isn't for everyone.
For sure. No doubt. Yeah. No, I think the only financial advice I got growing up, my granddaddy said, never spend your last dollar. And so that that was the extent of my financial literacy and my financial knowledge. And so honestly was the best advice that I ever got, because I don't spend my last dollar. But I had nothing else other than that. So again, that's pretty awesome that you're sharing some of that information with our students, with our young adults. And I shouldn't say young adults, but young people. So let's talk a little bit about your transition to YSU, right? You're coming over from the Dayton area. And, I was talking with someone else the other day, and it's one thing to transition to college and just be a part of a team, right? Mm-hmm. It's a totally another thing to transition to a program like YSU track and field, where there's expectation that, we walk around with rings and this is what you need to do, right? What was that transition like, coming from high school to a program like that?
I can honestly say it was developed though, through my track career, because even in high school, and then I used to run AAU, so that's like club track during the summer.
Okay.
It was that was always the mentality,
right.
Always put your best foot forward. You're in this sport, when you have an opportunity to do something, and especially after that hamstring injury, like when I have the opportunity, I'm grateful for every opportunity I have to run.
Yeah.
Because you have that opportunity, sometimes you can take it for granted. And then like when you go away, then it's like, wow, it really opens your eyes to like realize like, wow, like I think I was taking this for granted just to tap. Yeah.
Now, how did you develop your mentality? Your hunger to be excellent. How did you develop that?
I can honestly say my mother.
Okay. Superhero mom.
She has instilled a lot in me.
Okay.
My mom has a lot in me.
Good. All right. So, we're looking at your time here at YSU, and you can even look back at your high school, your high school days of running track and field. What are 3 lessons that you're going to take with you? And you're getting ready to be an adult. You're getting ready to get your real estate license and financial literacy license and all kind of things, right? What are 3 lessons that you can take from either your time at YSU track and field or your high school track and field that you'll implement as an adult?
I really think it's those principles, extracting it from the sport, the accountability. Well, you said 3 lessons.
Just 3, 3 lessons. It can be 3. It can be 3, like you said, accountability. The 3 things that you're going to take with you from being a student athlete and transition into adult life.
Discipline, self-control, and patience plays a factor, bro.
It does.
Like when you're overly anxious, I came across this quote, and it said, the quote said, like fast often, like not always in the sense of food and like watching what you eat, but fast often so your flesh knows it's not in control. So, in a sense, like in like plainer text, like discipline yourself often just so your flesh knows it's not in control.
Oh yeah.
Just in the sense of like, how do I explain it? Do you understand that?
Right. Wait. Repeat that, because that was good. Repeat that. I might. Let me write that down real fast.
The quote is fast often so your flesh knows that it's not in control, but in simpler, like discipline yourself often so your flesh knows that it's not in control of you. Like you're not in control of me. I control my body. I control what I control I control my emotions, and that's why discipline is important. Yeah. That's
good. Yeah, I'm taking that and I'm stealing that. And
but it's not always in the sense of like food, like because a lot of people fast or like they diet from certain foods, which is a thing and it's good for you. But like you can do that with like social media, secular media, like music, things like that. Just because when your body gets overly anxious for some things and you feel like you can't wait, that patience, that discipline factor is not there. That's when you should do it the most, just so you can like remind yourself, like I control my body. Like I control my emotions.
Yeah. Oh, that's powerful. That is powerful. And so we talked a little bit about those 3 things that you would take from the lessons that you've learned as a student athlete. But looking at there are two words that come to mind. I'm thinking about this: sustained excellence, right? So YSU track and field has sustained excellence. They're just not excellence. They have sustained it over years, right? And so, looking at the characteristics of someone that's sustained excellence, whether it's your mom or it's a coach, who's someone you model or someone you look up to as a mentee in a sense that, oh man, yeah, I can see that person is sustaining excellence. And what characteristics do you see that they have?
Mentee. There's a lot. There's a couple. I have particular like mentors and people I go to for certain things.
Hey, look, hey, I'm living in the time. Give them their roses while they're here, if you don't mind. You know what I mean? Give them their roses.
I'm big on that. Yeah, give people their roses while they're still here. I love that quote.
Yeah.
One of them is Emmanuel Curtis. He was my high school track coach.
Okay.
And you asked for like a certain quality.
Yeah. What qualities or characteristics, make them special?
What qualities or characteristics make him special? He's a leader. He is certain qualities. I don't even know how to describe him. You would have to meet him to know what I'm talking about. He's one of a kind. One of a kind. Okay. But there's just a leadership quality there. There's the perseverance to push through. Like you're always going to face adversity. You're always going to face opposition. But knowing that when you go through it, just keep that perseverance. You got to stay strong, get through some stuff. You know. With him. And I'll say he's really caring. And high school, I didn't know it. He's a tough coach. He's a tough coach.
Yeah.
On heads. But it wasn't
that happens.
Until I got away to college. He wasn't my coach anymore. And I still wanted to keep in contact with him. At first, I didn't really know why, but now I see why. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's quality person.
Nice. All right, so we're getting towards the end of this podcast here, and hopefully, again, we'll have you on at some point in time. We'll catch up once you dabble in that adult life a little bit and catch up with you a little bit. I'm sure the people will want to know what's been going on with Miss Henderson, so we'll have you on for sure again. So the last question, and I want to go back to the beginning when you talked about the 3 F's. And we're talking about being student athletes and how important it is to brand yourself, right? You're more than a student athlete, right? That's one piece of who you are. And you have a lot of pieces that make up Suerethia Henderson, right? So, what are some things that students can do right now? Either student athletes right now that are maybe freshmen or sophomores, or maybe someone that's junior, senior high school. What are some things that they can do to start working on their branding? Because I've been seeing you working your branding on LinkedIn. So I'm curious of, what do you have to share with them of ways that they can start working on their personal brand and developing that?
Okay. A way to work on your personal brand. A lot of in modern society now, they think some people think, they'll just post on social media. Like, it doesn't matter what I post. Like, no one's looking at this, whatever.
Yeah.
I would say it does matter. For what you do post. Not only like in the sense, like if you're trying to look to get recruited for like athletics, which is a major factor, but also like when you're even trying to get hired for jobs. Like even in high school, my first job was at Arby's. But when you're trying to get like just a get you by job like that, or when you're looking for a career, your employers, your colleagues, they look at your social media.
Right.
That's like resume and introducing yourself to someone before you meet them face to face.
Right.
Because 9 times out of 10, it's this is the lady, this is Suerethia, this is who I was talking about, and you're showing them a picture of you, or like you're showing them your profile of some sort. So the cussing, I really wouldn't recommend it. I really wouldn't. The drinking and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I recommend it. There's a time and a place, and I just don't think it's really for that. So yeah, that's my personal.
I agree. I think, as bad as a rap social media gets, it can definitely be a tool if you use it the right way. So that's why I wanted to hear what your perspective was, because I admire how you use yours as a tool in terms of promoting who you are, because it does make a difference. And I'm only saying that because I've been here in the game for a few years, right? So it does give people access to who you are. And if you use it that way as a tool, it's a positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to block all of your accounts, because if you're doing it from a genuine standpoint, like you said, it can serve you well, jobs, recruiting, and again, all of that stuff has a time and place. Right?
Yeah, and I'm saying, like, don't have fun with your friends, don't post when you're out with your friends. I'm not saying that, and obviously, you can take what I say with a grain of salt, of course,
right.
And everyone's gonna have their personal preference, but sometimes it's just not meant for everyone to see, and so like when I kind of because in high school and like middle school when you're growing up, it's just like you want to post everything. When I'm out to eat, when I'm going to the store, like when you get some new shoes and you want to do, like, you just post everything,
right?
But like that mentality where it's just like I don't either need to be posting this or just it's just not the time or place. So
no, I get it. Well, Miss Henderson, thank you so much for taking time. I know you guys got to meet next week. You're getting ready for finals. You're getting ready to walk. And I just appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with me today and sharing a little bit about your experience. So I much appreciate it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I would most definitely do this again. I enjoyed myself.
All right, awesome. Well, I look forward to catching up with you and watching you grow in your profession. And I'll catch up with you soon. Thank you so much for listening to Under the Wing. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you enjoyed today's show and you would like to support the podcast, tell a friend or two, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Facebook at Under the Wing with Andrew. Again, thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.